after reflecting and watching the tape, a lot of times the tape is not reflective of how you feel after the game. I would say that the tape was reflective of how I felt after the game. A missed opportunity. I think Washington State is a good team. I think we have the ability to be a good team. There were portions of the game where we played well, and then there are other portions of the game where we didn't. Some of the things that I thought were impactful, certainly the 104 yards on penalties, and while some of those penalties occurred early in the game, when the game was in the balance, I think that there was a residual effect of extending some drives on their part and hurting us in some parts, and so we're going to need to clean those things up if we have a chance to improve as a football program. Some of my observations, I thought Washington State had done a great job protecting their passer. For them to throw the ball 57 times with us coming up with 0 sacks. First of all, I think we've got some good defensive linemen. They certainly can play better. We can coach some things better, and we're planning on doing that this week. But along with that, I think you need to give some credit to Washington State. Their offensive line protected their quarterback well, and I thought we didn't know a lot about the quarterback. We'd watched some game tape when he was at his previous school, but he played well, and they had good skill players. The game, was a fairly tight ball game where we are disappointed we didn't finish, and fourth quarter finish is something that our program takes pride in, along with being disciplined. And so from those two perspectives, I would say that we spit the bit out, as a cowboy would say. We didn't answer the bell against a good football team, and so we lost an opportunity to win. Some of the injuries coming out of the game, I think Nico Evans will be day by day. We'll find out a little bit more as we go. Austin Fort I would say will not travel this week. I know I had released the fact that we thought Alonzo Velasquez would start, and he experienced some swelling in that knee after the recovery of surgery, and so we held him. He could have played, but it would have been in a very limited amount, and so all indications are he should be in good position to play this week. Obviously, we spent a great deal of time looking at where we were at in the rearview mirror, but now we got to look forward to playing an excellent Missouri team. I think Coach Odom has done an outstanding job leading and moving that football program forward. They took big steps this last year. They're prolific on offense. They led the SEC in total offense. They have 10 starters coming back. You've got a highlighted quarterback who I think is an excellent player. A big, strong defensive lineman, and those guys know what they're doing on defense, and they play really hard. And when you're playing against an SEC team, typically that's going to give you an indication that the talent level is such that their special teams are going to be very effective. So that being said, we've got a big challenge, but we're going to move forward as a football team. I think we've got good players too, and we got to play better. We got to coach them better, and so that's kind of the task at hand. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Craig, with Nico, I know, obviously Bigelow and Valladay are your next two guys. Is it kind of, like you said, after the game, by committee? Does Javon maybe have an edge maybe to start based on his performance last week, or what are your thoughts with that?
I think Javon carried the ball a little bit better. I was somewhat frustrated with X. He got tripped up one time with an arm tackle, but he did some good things. They bring something different. They're different type of runners, although we're running the same plays. Both of those two guys will play, and we also will play Dawson Booker as a third tailback. Now, he's not played tailback, but he's been taking reps at that spot. And typically for us, Robert, we play two tailbacks, and sometimes we distribute the carries by who's got the hot hand, and so we'll look at that. But both of those two guys will play this week. Now, we're in hopes we're going to have Nico, and he's got some bruised ribs, and sometimes guys heal up a little faster, and sometimes they're cleared. We'll just keep you abreast. It may come down to a game-type decision where we take them all the way down to Columbia and then make a decision there. Yes, Tracy?
Does the physical nature, say, of an SEC team make you a little more careful with Nico?
Great question. I would say no. You know, all these games are important for us, and so we're gonna put our football team in the best position to win. You know, last week we didn't feel like Alonzo was going to be in the best position to help us, so you know Rudy Stouffer played. So I think we'll make that determination where Nico's at. Now I think Nico's a really good running back, and the other guys are good too. Did it have an impact when we lost Nico in the game? I would say yes. There's a reason why he's a starter. So we're in hopes we have him back, Tracy.
I know you just mentioned the penalties and not finishing the game in the fourth and whatnot, but if you can reflect back for me, after post-game you said you were frustrated, disappointed. What's on the top of that list of disappointment, if you could kind of pinpoint that?
Those two things. Our football program has made, I think, great progress in effort, and that has shown. I think there's been some games that we willed to win, and so as a coach, when you watch it on the sideline and then it bears out on tape, and you see a lack of performance in the fourth quarter when you have an opportunity to win, there's some real soul searching, and there's some real challenging and some pointed questions. Why are we in that position to where we're not excelling? When you see maybe some guys not finishing off some blocks, or you see some guys out of position hanging their head on defense, and some missed tackles and things of that nature. When you play an excellent team, those things get magnified, but we're in the process of moving our program forward, so when those things come about with a game that we feel like is winnable and you don't answer the bell, that's frustrating. The next thing is what compounded that. I think Robert brought up the question of the penalties. That has not been typical of our type of football program. And so when you see that rear its ugly head, there's a residual effect. I think there's three series where we extended their offense on personal fouls on our part. And you saw an edge in the press conference. I'd like to think I'm usually more composed. I think I held my composure okay, but yeah, it was hard. If we get beat by somebody, we go out there and we get beat, I can live with that and go to sleep at night and be fine and get up the next day. Not that I like losing, but when we don't give our best effort, that's hard. And I think our fans have come to expect a good performance. Our coaching staff has, and I think our players have. And so typically what I know, when you have good character and you have guys who see themselves as competitive players, and not every day is a Chamber of Commerce day, and you go out and, like I said, you spit the bit out, well, then you put your hand in the dirt and you're going to get back to work. And so it's my hope that that resolve is going to occur this week, I think, collectively as a group. So those two areas, our effort and our penalties.
You know, with Tyler, so redshirt freshman quarterback, you don't want to put too much on his shoulders too early, but especially in the last game with Nico went out, it really seemed to affect the entire team. But how do you kind of draw the line or balance of not putting too much on the kid's shoulders, but also trying to get more out of that passing game or that attack? How do you kind of approach it and balance?
Well, I think this, Robert, if we consistently dial up what we have within our repertoire, some pretty complicated pro passing trees and protections, I don't think that that's going to be putting him in a good place. Now, we can do that. I think our playbook needs to expand a little bit. There's no doubt we're not going to be one-dimensional and go down there and beat the Missouri Tigers. But we've got to put more on his plate. I think that there were some things that Tyler did that were good. I mean, he had a couple balls down the field that we would have thought would have been caught. Another third down play that we thought the ball should have been caught, and it wasn't. But he also had some things that were uncharacteristic. Some of the things that I saw, in the short control passing game where he's usually had really good accuracy, he was off. And so he needs to play better. But many times there's so many things that go into quarterback play, whether it's protection, what do the sticks say, things like that. But he needs to play better, and I think he knows that.
Craig, do you think playing a team like Missouri will allow the team to move forward faster? I mean, it's like you said, the price of poker went up.
Here's what, I did say that, and that's true. As each game goes along, this is game 3, and we have 12 opportunities. So the last time I checked, that's, about a quarter of the way through. And so this is an important game, and you play them as they're scheduled. Missouri's had one game and it didn't get tested very much. And so I think the makings of a great college football game are there. However, we go out and 100 and some 4-yard penalties and do some of those things that I just mentioned, we're not going to play very well, and we can't even be in position to do that. This is a really good program, and people have different arguments about what conference is the best. I know different conferences bang their chest, but I think arguably right now that's the best conference. And when you have an offense that leads that conference, and you watch them on tape, they look like the real deal. And but I also believe we've got some guys that look like the real deal, and we can play better.
Just how good is the lock kid? I mean, I know it sounds like he could be maybe a Heisman Trophy candidate. And,
correct.
I know he faced a pretty prolific passing attack last week, but just how good is he, and what necessarily stands out to him from maybe some other guys you've seen?
They're different. The schemes are different. Coach Leach is pretty creative. Now he's got a guy from Microsoft helping him. I read that, so kudos to Mike. I don't know if Microsoft helped the quarterback or not, but made him help him on that trick formation. Different schemes. This guy's got what you would consider the pro football prototype quarterback, though. Strong, big, strong arm, throws the ball vertically. He's got good mobility, can stand in the pocket, all those things. And so those are attributes when you start looking at, our experience with either Carson Wentz or Josh Allen. I mean, he's right in that mode. Now, how high he gets drafted, I don't know, but it's probably going to be pretty high. Other questions? Graduate, so yeah, things I say are going to go right down to Columbia right now to Coach Odom. I know you probably got the black and gold underwear on right now, so you're supposed to be objective. So if this is an objective question, I'll answer it. I think it's helped a little bit the fact that we win against Josh every day, but every year is different. We think Tyler does some good things with the ball as well. It's going to be a great opportunity. I know our guys are looking forward to it. Okay.